Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cosmic Jelly, formerly known as King Fox, and today we're going to be talking about Diablo and Path of Exile. Now, mind you, this is more of a podcast type video, but I'm going to be talking about how I feel present in 2020 about both of the games, okay? So, if you guys watched my previous video, which was Diablo or Path of Exile in 2018, now, I went and rewatched this video, and it was a little bit vulgar. There was a lot of unnecessary cursing, and I apologize for that. I was just very passionate about Diablo. I love those type of games, but I've come to realize one thing about action RPGs. They're not really meant to be a main game for people. And I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, I know people that play stuff like Path of Exile, and I know people that like play nothing but Diablo. Yes, I know these people as well. I've put in a lot of hours onto these games myself. Right now I'm leveling up a warlock on this new server. I'll tell you guys about that in another video or whatever, but I just wanted to talk about, you know, MMOs, not MMOs, but action RPGs. So basically, an action RPG is like Diablo, Path of Exile, Torchlight, you know, games of these nature. These games are to be taken as arcade type games. And I'm going to get into this. And in this video, the reason why I'm not having gameplay in the background of these games, because I feel like this video is more suited towards people that understand and know exactly what Diablo or Path of Exile is. Okay, now I want to get one thing out of the way. Is Path of Exile or Diablo worth playing in 2020? Yes, absolutely. But you have to have a mindset to play these games nowadays. You know, these aren't games or whatever where back in the day it seems like everything was an action RPG due to limitations and, you know, the engines and shit like that, whatever. Like, you know, remember the first Guild Wars was an action RPG. It's kind of as far as technology got at that point without looking like really crappy, right? So at one point, a lot of things were laid out in the action RPG format, although those games weren't meant to be. You know what I mean? It wasn't until like games like Diablo and stuff like that came out back in the day where it actually had its own genre. And I don't even think back then or whatever they knew what to call it, really. They would just call it something like an MMORPG, you know? So what I want to talk about is why, you know, matter of fact, let's talk about, should you play one over the other? I don't think so at all. If you haven't really experienced Diablo and you like Diablo or you like being competitive, these games are perfect for you, right? Main reason is because of seasons. These games have turned into nothing but seasons. And my wife recently got into Diablo and she absolutely loves it, but she doesn't play much out of season. She just likes collecting the new stuff that comes every season and moving on. While Path of Exile, she can't really get into at all. Path of Exile is not really family friendly. It's more for your like hardcore action RPG player. It's just a harder game or whatever for, you know, things like girlfriends and wives and kids to kind of get into. Maybe some kids out there or whatever could get into or whatever. But Diablo is definitely a lot more casual, a lot more easier for people to get into it. It's a lot of upfront, straight in your face or whatever, knowing exactly what's going on, you know, with a touch of some depth if you get into it that much, right? It has that little bit of depth or whatever. Not very much, but it does have a touch of some, right? It has a great storyline or whatever that feels progressive. It feels really great for a casual player. I know Path of Exile has a really great story as well, but the problem with Path of Exile is it's not new player friendly per se. There's some things that I never wanted to see in Diablo and never wanted to see in Path of Exile, and those are seasons. Seasons give action RPG developers the right to not really like you know, basically not make content or whatever, because you would say that each seasons are content. And in the case of Path of Exile seasons are actually content, right? But let me tell you the negative effect of this. What happens is a new season comes out and everyone abandons the regular game. So unless you want to keep starting over and stuff like that, you really don't get a chance to really bunker down into a character and play that character. Now, maybe it's because I'm looking at it in an RPG perspective where I want to play one character forever and keep advancing that character. You know, action RPGs just aren't that anymore. You know what I mean? They're more of, you know, the MOBA mentality where you go into a game or a season or whatever like it's a single game, and you get your, you know, you compete for top rankings or achievements, whatever drives you to that season. And Path of Exile case, you compete to get basically, you know, the new items and stuff like that, as well as having a chance to be top on a board or whatever. Now, I don't really know how Path of Exile ranking system actually works. I don't know how. I think people just race to max level or something. I know, you guys, please don't kill me. I'm typically not a season person. I don't like them. In the case of Diablo, seasons is why we actually got no content for a very long time. The developers of Diablo pretty much use seasons as a way to just like put the game into it's not sleep mode. What exactly do they call it? Maintenance mode. Yes, that's it. And it wasn't until recently where they screwed up announcing Diablo Immortals did they start actually doing extra things and being a lot more active, talking to us and stuff like that. Because there was a time, it seemed like for 2 or 3 years, that they completely abandoned us. And they're just like, you know what, it's okay. We'll just give them a new season. Now seasons are a little bit more active on Diablo. They're a little bit more enjoyable. My wife absolutely loves them, you know, but she cannot get into Path of Exile. It's just not her style. It's too dated looking. And I know some people will look at Path of Exile and be like, oh my god, like it's not that dated. It looks pretty nice or whatever, right? But you have to understand it's 2020. You know what I'm saying? Path of Exile was made in the image of a game that came out damn near 10 years ago, which was like Diablo 2, right? So actually probably way more than that. I think Diablo 3 almost been out for 10 years or something like that now, right? Oh shit, is this guy gonna come, dude? Shit, I'm kind of scared right now. What's this guy? Jesus, can't even. Okay, I'm not scared. I think I can kill him if he tries anything. But I thought that was a mob. But these games have been out so long, you know, people want something new. People want something fresh. Recently there hasn't been a lot of MMORPGs coming out whatsoever, and action RPGs are even rarer than that, to be honest with you. You know, back in the day, like I said, I don't think it was intended to be the genre that it was. I think it's just the technology was holding it back. Now we have, you know, the announcement of Diablo 4, and we have the new Path of Exile expansion. Now, here's how I feel about that. Okay, I feel that Path of Exile has already done a really great job and basically making a really great game, making it you feel like, you know, this game's gonna be here forever, whatever. People essentially love the direction that Path of Exile is going. So we kind of know what we're getting as far as a Path of Exile expansion, or Path of Exile 2, whatever they plan on calling it or whatever. It's an upgrade of the old system, but in a new engine and stuff like that. It's going to look pretty. It's going to be more 3D or whatever. And I think that right there is going to overshadow Diablo. I feel like Blizzard's going to have to do one hell of a job on they're going to have to do one hell of a job on Diablo 4 to get people to not just like fold over. Because I think even my wife saw it and she liked it, and she was like, oh man, that's great. Now she's starting to understand, you know, how nice it is to have depth in a game like an action RPG like Path of Exile, or, you know, Diablo, right? So before it was more like, oh well, this is too complicated, I don't want to do this. And then as she got to in-game in Diablo and she starts running greater rifts and she starts tweaking her build, she starts to realize that Diablo's not really too deep. You know, she starts to realize, hey, you know, if Path of Exile looked a little bit better or was more aesthetically pleasing, this is exactly where I would be. I wouldn't be sitting here wasting time playing Diablo. But she still appreciates what Diablo brought. You know what I mean? She was still okay with everything Diablo. She doesn't regret buying Diablo. Like I said, she loves playing all the seasons and stuff like that. But outside of the season, the game is just not alive. You know, and Diablo feels like a much better game to play solo than Path of Exile. Path of Exile feels, for me, I can't speak for everyone because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that love to play solo or whatever, but I can play Diablo solo for about 10 hours. I can only play Path of Exile for about 4 hours or so solo before I need to talk to someone. I need to do something or whatever because the game is just not as appeasing or whatever. But that's going to change in a new expansion because they're going to allow you to do things like have a lot more skills, right? Where now all your builds are centered around one skill. You have literally one skill and you're basically leveling up and hoping that you get everything you need or whatever to make this skill godlike. And other than that, when you don't have that, it feels terrible. You're just like, okay, what do I do? I know there's hundreds of skills and stuff like that, but when you're building in Path of Exile, it doesn't matter if there's millions of skills if you're only using one. So that's something that they're changing that's going to be a lot better in Path of Exile 2. And that's something I'm looking forward to. And I love the aesthetic. And mind you guys, I'm okay with the aesthetics of the way that Path of Exile is now. But I know that once they upgrade or whatever, it's going to bring a lot more people into the game, and it'll be nice to play a game like Path of Exile with my wife, right? But because of seasons, these games are typically not games or whatever that you would main, especially if you're a person that's accustomed to MMORPGs. First of all, you just never really, especially in Path of Exile, what happens on Path of Exile right now, and I hope they find a way around this or whatever, and I really hope they do. But the community is too split. You have people that do nothing but seasons, and then you have people that do really, you have a small group of people, whatever, that actually play the regular server. You know, I know people that delete all their gear and their whole characters once the seasons are over and just go play other games. They just literally will only play Path of Exile when there's a season. And there's so many people, whatever, that are actually like that. And most of those people are, you know, MMORPG players. A lot of them play stuff like Black Desert, World of Warcraft, or any other, you know, MMORPG game while they're waiting for a new season of Path of Exile. You know, I've even had people in one of my Mythic raiding guilds and WoW, you know, completely stopped raiding or whatever when a season came out and rushed over there to just participate in whatever was new in the season. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if Path of Exile launched all the new changes or whatever throughout all of their servers at once. So, and they have the best seasons, mind you. Their seasons are way better than Diablo seasons. Diablo seasons pretty much just seesaw the things back and forth. They just seesaw the sets back and forth. One day you'll be able to do a Locust Swarm Haunt build. The next season you won't be able to touch it. You know, Hydra is just coming back around or whatever for Wizards, which is really cool. Whirlwind build is up and down. Now it's like S rank. You know, Whirlwind's something I've been running for a long time, and I've just gotten used to the whole mindset that I was never going to be able to push big rifts like 100 greater rift or something like that. And for you people that think that 100 greater rifts are small, get off the console. I know the console version of Diablo is nice and everything, but you guys are a little bit ridiculous over there. I think I saw some guy with like 900 and something thousand Paragon or some crazy stuff. You know, you guys are pushing into greater rift, you know, 400 and dumb stuff like that. Listen, us PC players, we have no understanding of your game. Diablo on console is a completely different game. So please, if you play console or whatever, you can't be in the comments crapping on PC players or whatever. On PC, if you're doing a 90 rift greater, you're doing pretty darn good, especially if you're not rocking one of Riker's, like, you know, S rank builds. And I love all the content that he makes, and he ranks all the builds perfectly. I can't get into, to be honest, I can't really get into Path of Exile videos at all. It's just not a pleasing game to watch, but it's really fun to actually play for me. And that's it. That's all I really want to talk about. That's really, that's it. This video is probably 20 minutes or so, but I just wanted to get this, like, it's not really a rant, but I just wanted to talk about both of them. And the reason why, like I said before, I didn't put any Path of Exile or Diablo images in this video is because this video is more towards people that play both of them and understand both of them. You know what I mean? It's not really for to convince new players to come play these games. Maybe I'll make a video about each individual game or whatever in the future, but was just pretty much like a podcast where I just wanted to kind of talk about the whole situation. So peace out, guys. This is Cosmic Jelly. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want more content, and also you can make recommendations down in the comments of videos, whatever that you would like to see, or opinions that you would like to hear from me. Peace out.